Well, it's here, the most highly anticipated Porsche of 2022, the GT4 RS. We're gonna get this thing cleaned up, polished, and off to its new home today on this episode of Drive and Protect.
Behind it. Side looks good.
Are we ready again? When I arrived at Porsche Greenwich, and this is the same dealership that I actually bought my Taycan Cross Turismo at a few months earlier, click the link above to see the full video of the buying process. Now, when I walked in the back, I found the launch spec GT4 RS dressed in what I call the normal white sweatpants protection for the boat ride over. Wow. These are the protective plastics and cloth bits designed to absorb any accidental minor impacts during the journey. However, sometimes those white sheets can actually cause damage themselves from rubbing back and forth, or if moisture gets trapped underneath, like the new red GT3 I did a few months back, which had very strange marks in the clear coat that needed to be polished out before coating. Now, it's really rare, but it does happen.
It's alive. Wow.
Now, if you're unfamiliar with the Porsche GT4 RS, Porsche folks have been waiting for this a very long time. It's a beefed up track-focused Cayman 718, but with a 4-liter flat 6 taken from the 911 GT3, but flipped around 180 degrees, and it makes 493 horse versus the standard GT4's 414 horse with a red line of 9,000, weighs about 3,200 pounds, and with an engine and the airbox sitting right behind you. You can actually feel and definitely hear the power, which makes this car incredibly desirable. After a thorough inspection and finding a few light scuffs and swirls and some sticky stuff on the front plastics, I started to get a game plan together for my polishing techniques I might use later on. But for now, after a bit of drooling on the car and with permission from the owner, I had to take the RS out for a drive. When I got back from my B12 shot and into the dealership, my buddy Renan arrived to help speed up the cleaning process because this beast is on its way out to the new owner first thing in the morning. For step 1, Renan filled the wash bucket with foam, the wheel bucket with Brute wheel soap, then foam cannon with water and of course the foam mixture while I pre-rinsed the paint. With the paint soaking, Renan worked the wheels with a small wheel willy, wheel brushes, and a blue towel. Next, we both carefully washed the paint with our blue extra thick microfiber wash towel before rinsing. With the paint and all the creases and crevices now dry, I covered up the black plastics within the fender just in case my polisher bumped into it with a towel and some tape. I did this quick and easy. Again, this wasn't a big production. I did the same thing on the hood scoops as well before my test spot just to be careful. I love how I'm testing my new polish on a brand new GT4. What could go wrong? As what was expected on a brand new Porsche, the yellow pad and this new polish I'm testing that has a longer working time worked really well. I'll have more information on this later on, but it removed the transportation mark. So I worked the larger areas with a 6-inch machine while Renan focused on the smaller spots with a 3-inch polisher. Okay, one of the biggest questions I get is whether the paint is hard or soft and how do you determine it, and there's just a lot of confusion around that. So the way I sort of think about it is it doesn't really matter whether it's hard or soft, you just have to determine it and then you can adjust your technique. So first thing I like to do to sort of determine whether it's hard or soft is I use a yellow pad and a yellow polish, or whatever your favorite polishing method would be, which would be considered a light approach to it. You do that and you say, is this working? Are the swirls being removed, or is it doing nothing to it? In this particular case, meaning the GT4 RS, incredibly soft paint, sort of typical of Porsche to have a little bit of softer paint, same thing with Ferrari. And so what's happening is the light pad and the light polish are removing all these little swirls and little delivery marks, which are very common. Now, if you go on the flip side, let's say something like Mercedes, in certain years, it's just rock hard. They have a certain type of paint that's just very, very hard, where if I were to use that polishing pad, I'm not really doing anything. Those swirls and scratches still remain. So I'd have to become much more aggressive or use more abrasive pads and polishes, and that's gonna remove a lot of those scratches. But by default, you're gonna leave behind some swirl marks that are induced by the compound. Then you have to go in and polish. So the funny part is soft paint is easy to remove, but it's also easy to scratch. Hard paint is kind of challenging to remove the scratch, but it's also challenging or more difficult to put scratches in it. So is one better than the other? Not really. It's just how you determine what it is and then your approach to correcting it. What's super cool about the GT4 RS is that it has a carbon fiber air box inside the car, but at the same time, this needs to be polished and protected as well. With the paint now 100% perfect, we installed a fresh coating of Reflex Pro to protect the paint and increase its depth and shine. At the same time, I applied Reflex Pro to the airbox inside the car, which is one of the coolest features of this car. While I was working on all that, Renan applied Gillette Pro wheel coating to the indigo blue wheels. Now, while all this was going on, we actually had a special guest come into the dealership to check out the new GT4 RS. Garrett Cole from the New York Yankees. I'm a huge Yankees guy, a huge fan of him. He was a gentleman. He hung out for a bit, super chill dude. I showed him the ammo Taycan. He took a few pictures with Rui and I for Instagram. And again, he's a big Porsche guy, so make sure you keep up with all the videos, as I might have one coming up soon on detailing his collection, so stay tuned. With the coating now curing, Renan quickly vacuumed the interior and the ridiculously cool blue inserts in the sport seats while I started cleaning the glass. Okay, we're rounding third on the GT4 RS project here. And one of the big things that causes a lot of confusion and certainly frustration is working on the windows, just working on windows in general. But when you're working on a new car, there's a thing called plasticizers that sort of come out of the plastic. A lot of the interior, of course, nowadays is made of plastic, and it gasses out. That's that new car smell that you smell when you get in a car. It's actually not a great thing for your body, but that's that gas that's being released. It gets stuck on the inside of the windshield. So you go in, you're gonna clean it with either isopropyl alcohol, which you don't want it to drip on the dashboard, so sometimes that's not great, but it's gonna remove the grease. Or you can go in, use a window cleaner like Obey, spray it a few times, use the scrubby, go like this, and you're gonna pick all that junk up. And as soon as you pick that junk up, put the scrubber down and come in with a squeegee, and look how clean it comes afterwards. Now, there's a catch to all of this, which is sort of the interesting / really frustrating part. When you go in and clean it, it's going to continue gassing out because it's a new car. So it's going to sort of get foggy again within the next couple of days. So what happens is I receive an email saying, hey, I cleaned the glass on day 1, and on day 3, it was dirty again. And I say, wait a second, is it a new car? They go, yeah. I said, it's because it's constantly gassing out. And a little caveat to that is if you're in a sunny area, that sun is actually gonna create a lot of the drying out, the gassing out. It's gonna make it go faster, so more stuff is gonna stick to the inside of the windshield. So keep that in mind. You're gonna have to do it more often with a newer car, but use that technique and you'll be just fine. Don't be afraid to use a razor blade or a razor blade extension handle for the windshield, especially if you have stickers and or if you have glue left behind. And when you do it, make sure you use a 15, maybe 20 degree angle on the window and use window cleaner as a lubricant, and you should be in good shape. Lastly, we applied mud to the rubber and touched up a few spots before showing the car to Rui.
Oh my God, Larry, it looks amazing.
There he is. What do you think?
I think it's wonderful. As you know, I don't have to tell you, this car is special for Porsche. It's special for Porsche Greenwich. This is our first one, so we wanted to make sure that she looked like this in pristine condition.
Unbelievable car, man. This thing is just so cool. Appreciate the ride. How many are you gonna get of these?
Well, I have one, as you know, but then I'm supposed to get a few more, so I'll be calling you as soon as they come in for you to take care of them for me. Thanks, you.
Well, guys, the Ultimate Weekend Warrior Track Beast GT4 RS is done. I got to go for a ride in it. Just on the roads, you can feel this thing means business. I can only imagine what it is on the track. Just being around it, this aura is just pretty cool. It's a privilege to be here. If you're interested in getting one, of course, reach out to Rui at PorscheGreenwich.com. I got no words. This thing's just absolutely awesome. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Yeah, you'll be fine. So how do you drive again? Okay. Oh. Are we ready again? Oh. So obviously they're not making a whole lot of them. So if you get your hands on one, this is just a massive privilege. It is fast, it's quick, it handles great, but the one thing that you cannot compete with is this. Oh, that sound. Oof. I know everybody loves the stick shift, I get it, but when you get into this and you got the PDK, you are going to be addicted to it. We're going to do this to this guy right here.